Oh, hey, Hoser, it's Ben the Coin Geek at Old Pueblo Coin. All right, that's really a bad intro. Thanks for joining us today. And today, by that amazing intro, what you know we're going to do is look at Canadian coins. Thanks for joining us. And today I've got a bunch of Canadian graded coins. These are all new purchases from the Albuquerque Coin Show. And I've got a few here that you'll find pretty intriguing and a bunch that we're going to kind of educate ourselves on as we go through. Canadian coin collecting is an interesting area. It's something that I don't have anything personally for myself, but one of the things that I do like when I see is these older PCGS holders with world coins in them. I find those interesting all the time. Just kind of fun to see what's in them. And also, it's interesting to see PCGS pop reports on these coins and how minuscule they are compared to US coins. And here we got George V. These are not my labels on here on the coins we're going to look at today. We're going to go ahead and look and see a combination of things, but most of the coins with those labels are going to be probably about 25% off to 35% off the numbers marked. Let's say that those were marked in Canadian dollars, shall we? There'll be a little variation, but you get the idea. I haven't really worked them up yet here. So 1957 Canadian PL66. PL is actually a designation specifically to certain coin strike style, like you would see with a proof coin. Interestingly enough, these coins come, they're kind of hard to grade because the surface quality is very different than a US coin surface quality. So, up close, there's a lot of distracting things going on there, but from a distance, it's really beautiful on this particular coin. So, 1957. And there is the canoe, which brings me to my favorite Canadian joke, which I'm not going to tell because I don't want to get banned. I really enjoy getting coins like this. I thought this coin here, this 1902H, was just a lovely example of their 10-cent piece. The H mint mark is right at 6 o'clock. Let's get a focus on there, buddy. But this coin in particular has just a lovely, lovely tone to it. This coin is the type of coin that I would consider cracking out and sending back in. I'm not going to at this point, but if I have it for a while, I probably will. It has super cool coloration on it, but also it's only graded mint state 62. And on that coin, I feel like it's probably something that's a little bit nicer than just a 62. All right, next up we have a 1918 quarter. This is old PCGS holder, graded mint state 64. A little bit of a darker tone on this coin. But very, very lustrous underneath that tone. But what I really wanted to show you, besides these coins here, was these coins here. I've got a whole big group of Canadian that I got in that are in these holders. ICCS, International Coin Certification Service. ICCS has been around since 1986, and a lot of Canadian coin collectors use ICCS. I'm not used to holding these big flips. And they're widely collected in ICCS holders. So what they do is, you'll notice this is a soft flip on the outside, and then they have an inert plastic insert on the inside. And you'll see that inside, the inert section there is sealed. Signed, sealed, delivered. I'm yours. Here we go. MS63. So you see the labels here. They have got room for comments. Lots of room for stuff on here. And these coins take up a whole lot less room, as you can see by volume, than these slabs do, where I've got, I think, about 4 slabs versus about, I don't know, what do I got here, 20 coins? I got a handful. Here. So of course you're going to get into the Queen and King on all of these Canadian coins, and there's a ton of varieties on Canadian coins. If you're kind of a VAM collector, or you like a Cherry Picker's Guide, you'll love Canadian coins because there is just a lot going on there. And this 1901 is really beautiful MS62 coin. Lovely, lovely. Some of them, it's a little bit harder for me to know all of the varieties on these because so this one is considered to be a special mint proof, a matte special mint proof. You know, although for me, when I look at this coin, you know, I don't consider it to have a matte finish. I would consider this to be more of a high glossy finish. To me, matte finish looks more like the original coins would. So I get confused by some of the mints. You know, the Chinese mint does the same thing where they'll have something will be labeled as a proof, but it looks mint, or it'll be labeled as a mint state, and yet it has all the qualities that we would call proof. That was a really lovely coin, wasn't it? As always, the larger coins take the crown here. The larger coins are more expensive in the series, generally speaking, the dollars, especially if you get into the earlier ones. But there are plenty of types and varieties, especially in the 19th century. 19th century Canada is very tough to collect, and especially in high grade. This is 1936. This is really a handsome looking coin, MS64, and rightly so. That guy. All right, 1949. Here's another one that's kind of interesting because it really has a proof-like finish to it. But a lot of these 49 Kamems have a proof-like finish to them. Let's take a closer look here. Reminds me a little bit of a certain Columbian Exposition half dollar that I know. But of course, this is the Fleurette Terra Nova, 1949, with an array of color kind of mixed in there on that coin. MS66. Very pretty coin on that one. So these guys have kept it kind of old school with their design, and you know, they haven't changed. They haven't worried about special labels. They haven't worried about any of that stuff. They're just kind of slow and steady wins the race kind of folks. This one's pretty cool. This 1952 Canadian dollar, really very lustrous coin. Very nice overall grade. You know, and this will cost you less than $100. And us U.S. collectors probably are jealous because, you know, the Canadians, they had their dollars well after we stopped in the 30s, and they were making them well after that. If any of these don't end up for sale, it's probably because I pulled them out to crack them. But I think we'll just offer them all for sale first. But then after that, there's a couple coins in here that were just kind of wowzers. I think this 1919 was one of them. MS64, 1919, 5-cent piece. Super, super fresh. You'll also notice something that's different about the Canadian coins is, you know, they have a different alignment on their coins than the US does. Tried to get a couple earlier ones. Here's a 1903 with Edward VII. You know, it's some of our coins have the flat strike to them, not a high relief. I talked a little bit about some of our coins even from that roughly that time period. So you've got like your Standing Liberty quarters, and they're going to have a little bit of that flat relief to them, where the difference in detail between a high grade coin and a middle grade coin isn't that much. And then so that gap between a low grade and middle grade doesn't look that much. This coin they've got called an AU50, the large H variety. And the reverse of this coin looks uncirculated. And then the obverse, though, looks, you know, plenty worn. Here's what they should look like when they are truly uncirculated, though. Once again, you've got a coin with some really cool old tone to it, and a very, very, very lustrous coin. I'll never figure out which end is up on these things. 1902. This one, MS64. 1902H, small H, MS62. So they're going to have mint mark varieties on these guys. Let me zoom in on at least one coin here. As soon as I put down my loop, I can't find my other one. There we go. Small H variety on that 02. Did we just look at another 02? 02 no H. 03 large H. I'm going to pull out this 03 large H really quick and see if it compares to that. Oh yeah, this H takes up half the space below the wreath. Yep. Very noticeable different size on those guys. Wondering how many of you US guys are going to find your birth date in here and say, you know what, I'm going to buy that. Really, there is a lot of handsome coins. 1941, $half, mint state 64. George VI. Another coin that has a very, very, very fresh appearance to it. A little bit different design than we've seen so far. But they have lots of little varieties, you know, with the different little line work that's on these coins. On all of your Canadian. Oh, that's funny. Here's the 02. I thought I had an 02 large H. Let's take a look at that 02 large H now that we're all experts in Canadian. Yeah, much, much bigger. Also, very, very lustrous coin. MS62. I'm going to put on my track shoes here, folks. Trying to find me some cherries here. This guy, there's a couple of quarters in here that I thought were really cherry. This 1940, they call it a 64. That feels like a coin that could upgrade. I think a lot of people probably do take coins out of these holders and get them recertified because usually they're pretty conservative. Here's a 41 MS64. So I'm going to put together a date run of these before I know it. 43. I just thought a lot of these quarters were really lovely and they weren't that expensive. Sorry if I didn't get any moose close-ups here. Let's do one moose close-up just because I know everyone's been dying to look at the moose. MS64. 1949. Yeah, this one has almost like a proof-like finish to it. Also MS64. Okay. This guy. All right, I knew there was one in here that I really liked the toning on. It's a 1952. With a little bit of a rainbow tone built in there. More on the moose track side than not. MS63 on that guy. And just a couple more. I only got a couple of halves. Very nice, robust, solid, original looking coin. Just a really beautiful patina, just original quality. 1938. This one is graded MS63. You know, and it's going to be less than $300 on that guy. But their early halves are pretty tough to get. They have really low populations too. This 1939 is MS64. The commemorative ones are a little bit more available. So this 1939. But even then, I often don't see them. I don't often see them with this kind of originality. Lots of times they've been kind of cleaned or mishandled. So, pretty cool stuff. If I call this a $half, just slap me around. I may have said that. I meant dollars. Some of you guys catch on real quick. Me, not as much. All right, guys. Anyways, let me know if you like Canadian stuff. Give me a shout out, and I'll try not to make any Canadian jokes while I'm on the air. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Ben the Coin Geek. You can subscribe by clicking on the owl button in the corner and watch more videos on the right side of the screen. Thanks.